Okay, well, welcome everybody. We just finished the first weekend of the Vision event. It was really great. Anybody attend the Vision event? Good. I think Dr. Jacob Lieberman was phenomenal, and nice to meet somebody like Dr. Craig Braun, who's a fellow ophthalmologist who has the same
Either one.
philosophy that I have. So if you missed the Vision event, you can still sign up, and we have everything recorded, so you can listen to both of the speakers. Okay, so let's open things up for discussion.
Because she told me when I was talking to her, she fell on the floor, and she couldn't get back up.
Okay, somebody is unmuted and is chatting nonsense in the background.
I'll just start it up.
Okay, Betty, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Kondrot. I just had a quick question on Dr. Brown's message. He mentioned N-acetyl, it's NAC, actually.
Yeah, and acetylcysteine.
Yeah, and I've got some here actually because I was using it they prescribe it for your immune system for COVID. Protection against COVID, or if you have it, and to use it. So I just I think that's the same thing that he was talking about.
Well, N-acetylcysteine is a precursor to glutathione.
Okay.
Glutathione is a very powerful antioxidant. In fact, some doctors give it intravenously. Very, very effective for reducing inflammation. Unfortunately, you can't take glutathione pills. It's not stable. So you need to take glutathione precursors, or chemicals that actually will lead to glutathione. And N-acetylcysteine is one of them. Also, garlic and onions.
Yeah. Did he say
precursors to glutathione?
Okay, yeah, my question is, did he say to take NAC or his ocufolin, or both? Was it one?
Well, I think that the ocufolin is a standalone product. You really don't need to take any additional.
Okay.
I mean, it's not gonna hurt you. I don't think there's a toxic dose with the N-acetylcysteine.
Okay, but I thought I heard him say that NAC helped the retina. Is that right? Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah, years ago when I was doing IVs, we would actually do glutathione IV for retinal problems and severe inflammation.
Okay.
But I think you can get it with food supplements.
Right.
You know, the N-acetylcysteine that you're taking, and also the glutathione precursors in our diet, you know, the garlic and onions and things like that.
Gotcha. Okay, that was my question. Thanks.
Did you enjoy the talks, Dr.
Very
Lee?
much. Yes,
Yeah.
very much. Yes.
Okay, other questions? I have the chat opened up too, if anybody wants to type a question in. Okay, Roxanne has her hand up.
Hi, Dr. Kondrot. I was wondering how, I've been doing the program for maybe since the summer, and I've been doing some other things that you recommended, like chelation for heavy metals. And I was wondering if, is there a way to set up another consult with you to review some of the things that I've been doing, so I don't take up time in the group meetings, but also maybe to see if you have some recommendations for some change in programs in my microcurrent machine? How would I set that up? Or,
Well, there's two ways to do it. I'll do a complimentary record review. Just get a new eye exam and send me the records, and I'll, tell Chris what needs to be done. Typically, we do have a continued care program, which enables me to then keep closer touch with you in terms of changing your homeopathic remedy, updating your microcurrent machine. You can talk to Chris about the continued care program. We have a way now where I can change the frequencies and current right on your microcurrent machine at home. I log onto your computer and I change them. Now, not everybody needs that, but sometimes,
I would just like to be able, because I've been doing so many things, I would just like to update you about those things. I do have some improvement in my vision. And like I said, I wouldn't want to take up time in the group meeting, but I would like some feedback from you about some of these things. So you want me to call the office? Is that the
give Chris a call, and then
the
she
352 number is 588-0417? Is that the right number?
You got it.
Okay. So that you're the last time I spoke with you, you were in Florida. You're not there anymore. You're in Arizona.
Well, I'm doing a lot of traveling now. I'm between California, Florida, and Pennsylvania. Right now, unfortunately, I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's like 22 degrees outside. I wish I was in Florida, but I have two grandkids here in Pittsburgh, so I'm spending more time here.
Okay. All right. So I'll call her to ask about the continued care program. That's what you recommend I do.
Right. And I'm happy that your vision seems to be better. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay. All right. I'll do that.
Sometimes you just need to continue the present treatment, the microcurrent and everything. And, slow and steady wins the race, because remember, we're dealing with aging changes. And it's, continued process to slow the body's aging process, keep those eyes healthy.
Okay. Okay. So calling is the best rather than emailing, right?
You could do either way. Chris is pretty responsive to email and to the phone call.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Trago, you have a question?
Yes. My name is Bruce Trago Smith. I just go by Trago on Zoom.
Okay.
I'm one of your new patients. And I have a question about the ozone treatment, the Oracle. You said you try to do that over 10 or 15 minutes. It doesn't take me even 5 minutes to do it.
Oh, you know why? You're probably squeezing the bag too quickly.
Nope. I'm holding our earplugs in my ears so to form a surface area that doesn't leak the ozone, and I almost just let it dry out. At the end, I'll squeeze it a little bit just to get it moving, but I don't do a lot.
You must be doing something wrong, because I fill a bag about 200 cc's and I connect it to the stethoscope.
Right.
And you want to slowly squeeze it. Maybe it's like a garden hose. You want to kink the tubing so you get a slower rate. Because if you do it too fast, a lot of it's not going to be absorbed into the ears. You want to do it slowly, maybe over 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, I'll change my procedure.
But try kinking the tube.
Okay.
If the tube's open, it just may flow out, but kink it a little bit and just gradually release it slowly.
I have not gotten my vitamin mix, and I haven't got my Cetonic with it light therapy. How do I have to do something to get those?
No. I would give Chris a call. Wait.
All the people that get the 3 months, because the expiration date of the vitamin is March, they're kind of waiting for the new batch to come in.
Okay, I would talk to Chris, but I was just informed here that some of the vitamins have expired and we're waiting for a new batch.
Okay,
So that may be the issue. But talk to Chris.
okay. But also I haven't heard anything about the syntonic light therapy.
Yeah, she should be sending that to you. She has all the glasses at her
And
place.
the same thing about the urine testing for heavy metals.
You should be getting that. When did you sign up? When did you start the program?
Well, I got my microcurrency machine 10 days ago. There weren't any gloves in the package. And so FedEx, it says the gloves are in transit. So we started it probably 2 weeks ago, maybe 15 days. And then I got my machines like 10 days ago. But I haven't
No,
been
you
able to
should be
use it.
you should be getting everything within a couple of days, a week the longest. I'm gonna have to investigate that.
Well, good. I'm glad we talked about it, Tim.
Where do you
Uh,
live?
In Montana.
That could be the reason. The roads are closed. Nobody
No,
wants to go there.
Okay.
No, we do have problems with patients in Canada. You know, going through customs, but Montana shouldn't be a problem. Where do
That's
you
what
live
I
in
thought.
Montana?
Pardon?
What city?
Helena.
Yeah, that's the capital, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. I would check with Chris.
Okay. I'll tell her I haven't got all these other things. Good.
Yeah, but you should get everything within a week.
I didn't.
Once we put the order in, everything, you know, so we'll have to investigate that. That's unusual.
Okay. Thank you.
If somebody else said here that they have not received the vitamins or syntonic light, so I'm gonna have to check with Chris on Monday. See what the issue is, but you should definitely get all that stuff within a week. We like to be pretty prompt with it.
She was waiting.
Okay, there's another question here about microcurrent. My mother was feeling like her eyes were getting better after a week. That's good. And then she thought her eyesight had digressed. Is that to be expected? That would be unusual. Usually you get an improvement. The improvement may slow. Initially, you should get an accelerated improvement and then that kind of goes slow. If she feels her eyesight is getting worse, there has to be another reason for that. And you sit here in your note here that she's had a cold and flu. And so if your immune system is run down and you have a virus in your body, that could be adversely affecting the eyes. But I would continue the microcurrent as is. Make sure she's properly hydrated, because if you are dehydrated doing the microcurrent, that could cause a problem. If you're really dehydrated and you do the microcurrent, it may cause a blurred vision and actually a headache. You got to keep your body properly hydrated and proper nutrition. So if she has the cold and flu and she's dehydrated and nutritionally deficient, we really got to take care of that. Get her up to speed with proper nutrition and hydration. Okay, other questions? Oh, Roxanne, you have another one?
Yes, I do. Could you talk a little bit about what you think about peptides for the eye?
I know that's a hot topic and there's a lot of alternative doctors who are using peptides. I haven't seen that dramatic of a response. I've been looking at it. I was casual acquaintances with the doctor who's really big on peptides. I haven't seen any benefit. Now, one thing, I do learn more from my patients than I do medical meetings.
Have they been around long enough to evaluate that really, or Is it, you said it's, well, it's a hot topic. Does that mean it's relatively new treatment?
Well, it's being embraced by a lot of alternative doctors. And as I mentioned, I learn more from my patients. So that generally, I like whenever you join my program, I don't like you to do anything else except the program for 3 months. Then after that, if you wanted to explore peptide treatment or some chiropractic or new vitamin, please do, and let us know your response.
So
I
I'm,
haven't seen, in
Mhm.
fact, I'm not going to mention the doctor's name, but I treated, I think, 12 patients with him. And each one of the patients consulted with him for peptide treatment. It was part of my program for that period of time. And they spent a lot of money and I didn't see that big of a difference over the results. Bruce, you have another question? Your hand's up.
Yes, when you say hydration, how do I know if I'm hydrated or not?
Well, in the old days, when I worked in the hospital, we used to grab a patient's skin and pull it up. And if it popped back down, they were hydrated. But if you pulled it up and it stayed up, they were dehydrated. We used to make rounds in the hospital and grab their skin. He needs more water. He's good. But the general rule is you should drink half your body weight in ounces of water.
In grams.
No, in ounces of water. Let's say you weigh 160. You should drink 80 ounces of water a day.
Oh, it's in pounds then. Okay. So if I weigh
Take your weight
180,
in pounds, divide it in half, and that's the number of ounces. So I weigh 180. I should be drinking 90 ounces of water. And I have my bottle right here. I'm setting a good example for all of you. And
Now-
don't underestimate proper hydration. Dr. Mangeldi wrote a book, Our Body's Many Cries for Water, and he had case after case of patients with chronic disease, and their problem was cured just by proper hydration. You know, we need good hydration for our body to function.
now is tea the same as water?
Tea is not the same as water because
Ooh,
tea has a solute in it. It has a substance in it. When we talk about hydration, I'm just talking about water,
oh,
not coffee, not tea, not beer, not wine. It's water.
okay. Well, I've been drinking a lot of tea, and what you're suggesting, I should be drinking more water.
Well, it depends how concentrated your tea is. If it's weak tea, if it's herbal tea, it may not be a problem.
Herbal tea
But some of the teas actually make you more dehydrated.
with caffeine in it. Yes.
Can
Okay.
make you more dehydrated.
Thank you.
Okay, here's a question here. Comment on the difference in auricular ozone and the method you use, one that uses water with an ozone. Well, the ozone eye drops are mainly for a topical treatment, you know, for dry eyes, blepharitis, inflammation. The auricular is a much higher concentration of ozone that's absorbed in the tympanic membrane and goes into your body. There's two methods that I like, the rectal insufflation and the auricular. The auricular probably is a little bit better. You get a higher concentration of ozone, but the rectal, you probably get a higher concentration. The auricular is easier to do. It's interesting, in the United States, rectal is the favored technique, but in Europe and in other countries, they like the auricular. So during the COVID epidemic, I, was doing both. So those are the two types. And there's a question here, change the frequency, higher or lower frequency for glaucoma patients. I assume you're talking about the frequencies of the microcurrent. And we have many, many different frequencies. So when you get your program for glaucoma, macular cataract, it isn't one frequency. We may have about 20 or 30 different frequency pairs. By a frequency pair, I mean, there are many different structures in the eye. Let's say, for example, glaucoma. We're treating the optic nerve, we're treating the nerve fiber layer, we're treating the ciliary body. There's a specific frequency for each tissue. And then we also have a specific frequency for each pathological situation. Is it inflammation? Is it hemorrhage? Is it lack of oxygenation? So we use these frequency pairs to treat you. So don't make the mistake and think that when you're doing your eye treatment, it's one frequency. It's not. It could be 20, 30, maybe 40 frequency pairs. So whatever you do is don't do your eye program and stop after 15 minutes and shut the machine off and say, I'll do 15 minutes later. You may be missing the last 15 minutes of frequency pairs. Run it to completion. Another good question, are there any updates for cataract treatment? The hot topic is the lanasterol. It's a substance that has been shown to reverse cataracts, but it reverses cataracts in a petri dish, not in your eye. And the only way it could possibly work is you would need an injection in your eye of this substance. So it's been shown to reverse cataracts in a petri dish after the lens is removed. So there was some excitement about that, but right now they have to get a delivery system on that. But I do believe that with cataracts, you have to look at the underlying cause, and that's nutrition. When I did mission work in Africa, I was seeing young men and women in their 20s and 30s with advanced cataracts. They were like solid white and black. And it has to do with nutrition. They're so severely nutritionally deficient. I mean, no vitamin C, they don't get the nutrients. So there's an amazing researcher, Dr. Levy. He's a medical doctor and an attorney. And he has a theory that cataracts are a form of focal scurvy. You've heard of scurvy. Scurvy is a complete lack of vitamin C. When you have scurvy, your teeth are falling out, you get ulcers, and your body falls apart. But he talks about focal scurvy. By focal scurvy, we're getting enough vitamin C to prevent scurvy, but there are a lot of other conditions that are part of our health woes due to a deficiency in vitamin C. Periodontal disease, cataracts, even heart disease. They're all due to focal scurvy. In other words, we're not getting enough vitamin C. So how much vitamin C do we need? I usually recommend for cataract patients, try to take 3 grams a day. You know, you can be at the powdered vitamin C, or take the Oclamed. I think the Oclamed is a good product because you're putting it in your eye and it's you know, penetrated right into your eye. The other question somebody had about the ozone, I do have 3 YouTube videos on ozone treatment. And I talk about the rectal, the auricular, and making ozone eye drops. So those are a good source if you want to check that out. Roxanne, you had another comment or question?
Yeah, I'm really fascinated by the microcurrent. I mean, I've been using it, but I'm also fascinated about how, if it's possible, if you could explain a little bit about how it was determined that this frequency will help the eye, and then we'll have this other program for, let's say, stress or basic detox. Could you explain a little bit about that to us as your patients?
Well, I'm fascinated by this technology, and that's one of the reasons why I'm back at school. I'm studying to get my master's in electrical engineering. Although I don't know how long that's going to last. My wife is upset that I'm spending too much time with math homework, and I have an oscilloscope here at home and I'm putting frequencies in. But I'm also a ham radio operator. And, you know, we send frequencies over a distance. So let's say, Roxanne, you have your ham radio. We dial in a frequency. We connect. Then I send another frequency. It's my voice and we can talk. So we're using electromagnetic waves, two waves. One wave to make a connection and the other wave to communicate. So every tissue in the body has a unique frequency. How can that be? Well, you have a tuning fork that's maybe a D sharp and another one that's a C. You resonate them, there's no harmony. But if you have two C sharp frequencies, they're going to resonate and have harmony. So we determine what frequency a tissue has. And what determines the tissue frequency? Well, it depends on the hydration, the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen bonding. Every element has a unique frequency. So once we identify that frequency, then we can resonate with that tissue. So the lens of the eye has a different frequency than the retina, than the optic nerve. Then we have studied frequencies that cause a physiological effect. They've been identified. Reducing inflammation, stimulating oxygenation. And then we combine these frequencies and it seems to work. So the research is really, really fascinating. And I do believe that the future of medicine is going to be with the electromagnetic, the frequencies. Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's a brilliant researcher, gave a talk. And he said that when you take a drug, the old theory used to be, it was called the, I'm slipping my mind. Cell receptor theory, that's it. Let's say I take a drug for high blood pressure. Goes into my body and there's receptors on the arterial. And the drug hits those receptors and relaxes the artery and my blood pressure goes down. It's the cell receptor theory. And that was studied in medical school and you had to know it to pass your test. All drugs work on a cell receptor. But Bruce Lipton said, it's garbage. The cell receptor theory doesn't work. They've studied it. He said that every time you take a drug, it has a frequency or a resonance. And that's how it works in your body. So in other words, why do you have to take a drug? If we had a device that could generate a certain frequency to duplicate that medication, it would eliminate the pharmaceutical industry. And so that's what the frequency specific is. It has the potential to develop a resonance that can cause a physiological change in your body, which is really fascinating. And that's how microcurrent works. We've identified frequencies now that stimulate stem cells. We've identified frequencies that have an anti-aging effect. We've identified these frequencies and, you know, we're incorporating them in different programs.
So you used a particular engineering company or you worked with electrical engineers?
Oh, that story was kind of interesting.
Mhm.
This was when I was practicing in Phoenix. I consulted 2 or 3 engineering companies to develop a programmable machine. And every one of them wanted like $50,000 to $60,000 retainer to work on it. And then I met Ning Wu. I call him Ning Wow. Ning Wu was just recently graduated and he couldn't believe that microcurrent could treat eye problems. And so he wanted to develop the technology and just start a business. So Ning Wu and I worked together and we developed the Instastar machine. I mean, it's his company. I'm not an owner or I don't have any shares or things like that, but he's brilliant. And these electrical engineers that came to me and they wanted a retainer of $50,000, $60,000, they told me it would take a couple of years to do and they couldn't guarantee me the results. But Ning Wu did it in 3 months.
Wow.
He's
So
brilliant.
Ning Wu is the maker of our microcurrent machine.
He's the maker.
Okay,
I
so,
call him Ning Wao.
yeah.
And Ning and I were constantly tweaking the machines and doing different things, but I'm studying the frequencies, combining frequencies and the effect on the body. Let's see, Miriam, you have a question? Your hand's up. Hello?
Hello, doctor. Hi, everyone.
Hi, thank you for joining.
First time join, yes. I'm joining on behalf of Vasilis Spirou. He's doing the ozone therapy for about 2 months for his vision. And I have some questions.
Yeah,
The therapy is for 3 months, for start at least. Okay. And now he's on his 2nd month. He has seen a slight of improvement in his vision. He can
good.
see more far, a little bit more far, and the colors are more bright, a little bit. But it is an
Fantastic.
improvement. Yeah, it's fantastic. I'd like to ask, after the first 3 months, what goes next? Does he have to stop?
No, usually the goal for the first 3 months is to get a program that works for the patient. So if he has a program that works for the first 3 months, he doesn't need me anymore. Just continue the program. But if he feels that the vision is declining a little bit or other problems develop, we have the continued care program. I'll continue to work with him with homeopathy. But most patients, you know, the goal in the first 3 months is for me to develop a program that works. And then he continues that program.
Okay, so he doesn't have to stop for some time and then start again.
No, he would continue the program.
And what about the medical treatment? He takes the pills, spray, and the liquid vitamins. Does he have to order again?
Yeah, he should continue that. Yeah. But see, here's the thing. If he's, changing his diet, he's eating healthier food, he's exercising, he's drinking more water, he may not need the vitamins or the nutrients. As I mentioned, I think food is our best medicine. But sometimes when you have a serious eye problem, you need that added boost of, a nutritional product. And then too, he may not need to do the microcurrent every day, maybe every other day or once a week to maintain his vision.
Okay, for the past years, he has been doing acupuncture for his vision. He had good results, but not so many results as the previous years. So he tried ozone. We cannot combine both of them, right?
Yeah, you can combine ozone and microcurrent, no problem.
Okay.
They work very well together. Well, there's a different action with, the ozone.
Okay. So the more he's doing ozone therapy, the more results he will have, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the goal. That's the hope.
Okay. And about the medical treatment, how do we know when to stop taking the medicals and then start again?
Well, I think the safest would be to continue all the medical treatment. But it depends on your budget and, getting the products. You may want to cut back for a couple of days to see what happens to his vision. It may not be necessary.
Yeah, I see.
And also it depends on, is he changing his diet? Is he drinking more water? Is he more relaxed? Those are factors you have to consider.
Okay. Good. Thank you. That was all. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm glad he's doing better.
We are glad to.
There's a question here. My supplements were getting ready to expire by the end of December. And there's something about FDA regulations. I did smell ransom. Renteria, are you there? I don't understand your question. But the FDA requires all vitamin manufacturers to put an expiration date. Typically, the products last much longer. I'm taking vitamins right now myself that expired 6 months ago, and I don't have any problem with it. So the expiration date is just random. For example, homeopathic remedies, we're required to put an expiration date on it, but actually homeopathic remedies will last forever. There's no expiration date. But if they're discolored or they smell funny, then there could be a problem. See, a lot depends on how the vitamins are stored. If they're stored in high temperatures and, exposed to the elements, they may not last as long. But if they're in a cool environment and protected from the sunlight, they'll probably last longer. A good question here. What is the difference between a sound frequency and a microcurrent frequency? Well, a frequency is a frequency. The sound frequencies, affect the body differently than the microcurrent frequency. I don't know the hertz of the sound frequencies. I know that I think it's A is 440 hertz. And a lot of doctors are doing healing with sound frequencies. Different musical notes affect the body. They resonate with the body. So this idea of resonance. I've been doing auricular ozone with my MD, but he uses an ozonette that passes the ozone through a bottle of water. I think that a lot of doctors pass it through water to prevent irritation. I know that when you're doing auricular ozone, a lot of times you'll get dryness in your ear and crusting. So sometimes ozonating the water will help reduce some of the dryness. I don't know if the moisture improves the permeability. I don't think that's really a factor. Mark I see a hand up with Mark. Mark,
Yes.
did you have a question?
You mentioned earlier about injections for cataracts, and I know there's also for macular edema, there's an anti-VEGF injections.
Right.
And I know someone who's on that and he hates it. He's so afraid of it. And there's got to be some sort of homeopathic alternative to that.
Well, that's my area of interest. I'm looking at microcurrent, certain frequencies to reduce the inflammation, homeopathic remedies, and nutrition. Dr. Braun, who just spoke at the Vision event today, had some phenomenal cases of patients with wet macular degeneration whose condition resolved just with proper nutrition. I agree with you. I'm against the injections. In fact, long-term studies, I think they did a study with, I don't know how many hundreds of people, but everybody at the end of 5 years had worse vision. I think the injections can help early on, maybe the first couple of months, but long-term, they cause more damage.
So what's the key to health for someone with BRVO, macular edema and cysts and such?
Well, have I reviewed his records?
No, it's a friend of mine, and he knows I'm related on this program, and he asked me some questions because he's got 2100 vision. It's funny, what happened to him was he went in for cataract surgery. I didn't know, and that surgery almost destroyed his eye. It was a very bad surgery. It went very bad, and now he's got all these problems, and he doesn't know what to do.
I think sounds like a complex case. have him send me a copy of his records. There's no charge for that. I'll take a look at his records and make some recommendations.
Okay, that'd be great. He's afraid of losing his eye, that's all.
Yeah, well, sometimes, most cases of cataract surgery go extremely well, but that's one of the reasons why anytime you have an operation, there's a risk of a problem.
Yeah,
So we
his was
really
so
got to
bad,
look
he-
at what we
he
can do
didn't-
to strengthen his body, help him
Yeah.
heal.
he was forced to do it almost because he couldn't see out of the eye anymore. And so
Mhm.
he had to drive and that sort of thing. So unfortunately, he didn't get a good doctor or something went wrong.
But even the best doctors have complication. There's a saying, if a surgeon doesn't have any complications, that means he's not operating.
Okay, so there's hope. That's very good.
Yeah, look forward to seeing his records.
Okay, thank you so much.
There's a question here. I'm going on vacation. Can the microcurrent go through the scanner at the airport? I've never had a problem taking my microcurrent machine. I travel with it in my carry-on. I've never been stopped. Never been stopped. Just don't walk through the scanner holding the gloves in the machine. I wouldn't recommend that. But I've never been stopped, and I've traveled throughout Europe, and never a problem with it. I don't think that's an issue. How can I get access to the microcurrent program so I can program the microcurrent system myself for other ailments? We can program your machine. In fact, now Ning has a machine that has up to 99 different spots. So most of you have a machine for 10. Although we have a battery of a couple hundred different programs for various ailments. So I have been thinking about making the larger machine available to patients. Of course, it's much more expensive. It'll probably be like twice the cost of the current machine that you have. But we do have, our continued care program where you invest in the software and cable, and I'm able to reprogram your machine. So let's say you had facial rejuvenation and you wanted to change the digestion. We connect on the computer and I change it. Unfortunately, programming the machine yourself is only available if you have a medical license because of the FDA. So you're not able to program the machine itself unless you're a medical doctor. But we have a program where we can update and change your programs very easily online. If you don't want to invest in the software and the program, you can just mail it back to Insperstar and we can change it. So talk to Chris about that. But many of our patients are really happy with the software and cable where I can quickly connect with your computer, you plug in the machine and we change it for you. Okay, let's see. All right, I think I got all the questions here. Any other questions? Let's see here, 2 new messages here. Oh, there's a question about the vision event. I'll be probably sending a link out to everybody who paid for the vision event to watch the recording. I'll try to do that tomorrow. It's being processed right now. I got to edit it and upload it, and I'll be sending it to you. What is the charge for the different programs on the microcurrent machine? Well, usually being part of the program, you'll get 10 as part of your purchase price. But if you wanted to change a program, there's a $100 fee for changing the particular program. Okay.
And Dr. Kondrot, to change the program, just to follow up on that question, it's not just the $100, but you also do the continued care program and get the cable to do that.
Well,
change?
that's if you buy the cable, software and cable and join the continued care, we don't charge $100 per change.
Mhm. Okay.
So the continued care, I really don't know what the dollar amount is for the year. I think it might be $1,000,
Mhm.
but it's unlimited changes on your machine.
Okay.
You know, we just set a time up. You log onto your computer and I, change the parameters on your machine. That's one option. But if you would send a machine in,
Name charge 100 to loan and 25 to ship.
yeah, if you would send it in, the company charges $100 to load. So let's say you didn't want to buy the software and cable. You wanted to make changes on your machine. I would make the changes on my computer. I have a file. I send it to Ning. And then Ning will load your machine. And he charges $100 and $25 for shipping and handling. So if you're not computer savvy and you only wanted to make one change or so, then you're probably better off sending it to Ning. But if you're changing the machine, you wanted to try different current levels and things like that, we can, the best option would be to invest in the cable. What is Ning's address? I don't have that. He's in Chandler, Arizona.
Good. Dr. Kondrot?
Yes.
Yeah, I sent a message to email to Chris with a question and also to info@healingtheeye for this webinar, but I didn't get any response. I guess you didn't get it. But anyway,
That's Jeff Orr.
yes. So I wrote, I'm getting low on the Byronia alba, the homeopathic medicine. And I was wondering if you want me to keep taking that or try something else. I've been on it since October 22nd. I do feel calmer and happier overall and more relaxed. But I really haven't noticed anything as far as eye improvements. And I thought it was supposed to address glare, macular pucker, and floaters. And there's been no change in those.
Well, usually with the homeopathic remedy, we want a mental emotional change first.
Okay.
Calmer. Usually that can occur quickly, but the physical changes may take time. So my advice is probably continue the remedy unless you develop a new symptom or maybe the vision's getting worse.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is, have you had a recent eye exam?
No, I haven't had one since December or something.
Yeah, because it's really strange. Sometimes I talk to people and they'll tell me that they haven't had any change in their vision. Everything's the same. Then they go back to their eye doctor and they're seeing 2-3 lines better on the eye chart. And the doctor goes, "Oh, you're doing much better." Sometimes the changes occur so slowly, you're not aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was getting ready to schedule an appointment.
You may need a change in your glasses. The prescription may change.
Right.
So the big key is the mental, emotional, calmer, maybe more energy. That means that we're definitely causing a shift in your body.
Okay.
Also, then we may want to change. If you go to the eye doctor and there's absolutely no change, then I may want to look at maybe changing some of the frequencies in your machine.
Yeah, I've got it for
the
glaucoma.
current.
I have it for glaucoma.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of ways we can evaluate the glaucoma, the visual field test and
Right.
the nerve fiber layer. Okay, there's another question here. We have the homeopathic medicine, but not the vitamins. Do we start the homeopathic with that? Yeah, you can start the homeopathic immediately. It's not like they have to be started together. Okay. All right, well, if there's no other questions, I want to thank everybody for attending, and we'll be meeting again in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, any questions, contact Chris. I want to thank everybody for attending, and good luck to you all. All right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.